married to a Japanese woman when only probably 0.1 to 0.3% are married to a let me tell you what needs to happen for this story to make any sense. Any sense. There are 20 million black families. You would need about 1 million black families to be married to a black person, male or female, to be married to a Japanese, to anchor this, just to make it like, okay, you have some small number of black families. Let it be at least 500,000. You're talking about a few thousand, possibly a few thousand black families that are married between these two groups. And she gonna tell our story of reparations through them and avoid the group that actually created reparations discussion. She talked a lot about HR 40. That's not what created this discussion. I'm telling you because I'm not guessing, and I want to give you what you need to be able to go tell them this won't work for us. This is disrespectful. You can't tell our story through Tiger Woods. See, they done tried to, what he said he was, Calabinasian? How's a Calabinasian man gonna get reparations for that black kid that's in Parchman right now or in Loudoun County? The whole game is to undo reparations without saying y'all don't deserve reparations. That's what this article does. It tells us that we ain't here. What do you mean? Everybody has a story. See, everybody been playing games with y'all. The game is to make y'all so confused by telling you, who are you to police blackness? The Pew Research police blackness. Wikipedia with the data police blackness. There are no Asians and blacks married to each other beyond a few number of families. I don't have to police it. I'm just telling you what the numbers are. So she can't go out and find one family and avoid all the other families that are struggling. Let's talk today. I'm telling you because I needed to frame this because this is an awful article and disrespectful. I say again, don't call me xenophobic because I'm not. I believe the Asians of all type, if you're mistreated, the railroad workers in China, Chinese railroad workers, the Japanese, they should get whatever they do. But 8,000 people ain't slavery in America. So somebody will say she's not saying that. Well, she's not saying that. I'm saying this to you because America built itself on the mythology that we really didn't happen. That we not owed $10 to $12 trillion. Somebody came in the comment section of my video and said, well, they got 20,000. How does that compare to, no, we are owed transformation, $12 trillion. Well, we're not supposed to be in Parchman prison. We're supposed to be running Mississippi. That's what happens when you build the wealthiest country the world is known, and it's a democracy, and then the democracy has to do right by you because they treated you like slaves for hundreds of years. It's called reparations. But they got theirs and we got nothing, didn't get ours, and nobody can make sense of why. But we're gonna do an article where we leave out how many black families are intermarried with Japanese, but talk about it as though it's normal. So people who don't know no better think about 10% of black families are married to Japanese people. Understand this. Let me read some of the article. Let's get right into it. We got the framework now of how crazy this is. I really don't know what they were doing, but I'm telling you right now, this is why we never had a reparations discussion. These people have no idea what they do is disrespectful. They don't even understand race in America. They start race in America in about 1970 and then come forward. Then they trickle in stuff and really elevate it. What about Marcus Garvey? Understand, or they'll say, what about Shirley Chisholm? Again, before 1965, less than a percentile of black immigrants were ADOS. This is the reality of the country. How do we recreate history as though history didn't happen? This is the article. Her mother's parents were imprisoned during World War II for being Japanese American. The Yamamotos lost everything. Understand that they get first billing. The Japanese issues is the top thing we're going to talk about in the reparations piece. Their home, their leased strawberry farm, their dignity after the government labeled them the enemy. Her father's ancestors were enslaved at Mount Vernon. Unlike the vast majority of enslaved African Americans, the Sphinxes became landowners, though it took an act of Congress to gain full recognition of their property rights. The impacts of government-sanctioned racism ran through both branches of Robin Sphinx's family tree. That uncommon lineage shows how even token compensation for historical wrongs can reverberate through generations, affording a chance to heal. These are people I went to UCLA with all day. This is like some old concocted stuff, and then we can't have a real discussion about what ADOS are owed because we talking about concocted, mixed up, aberrational stuff. Again, show me the million families, the million black families where it's a black person married to a Japanese person that justifies this article. If you can't show me that, this article really shouldn't have got printed. You can't do this article if it's only a few hundred families that live this way. Not when it's 82% blacks that marry other blacks. The main group when we marry out is white people. I'm just telling you the truth of it because people have fun and games telling stories about aberrations like this black family. But then the problem is the aberration wants to speak for the group because when he comes back, the father that lived this aberrational life says is but for her father, slavery was too long ago to determine who should benefit from reparations. And he is skeptical of how cash payments would lift African Americans into prosperity. First, you have no expertise to speak on this. You don't know enough to speak on this. Second, you don't get to talk about what other people get to go through when you receive the gift of aberration. Your family got to live with the advantages and the privileges that mass numbers of black families were shut out of. How are you going to then say they shouldn't be repaid when they were locked out? I don't understand where we got here, where somebody who lives such an aberrational, oddball life gets to speak for the race. But that's what the Washington Post did because it's easier and it sounds real good and it allows us to have an intersectional discussion and try to undercut ADOS. We're not having it. Moving on in the article, and for her uncle, the plot of land bequeathed to his family before the Civil War ceded their wealth after enslavement, effectively becoming a form of reparations, he said, other black families deserve today. So the uncle kind of get it. They continued on and they started talking about it's the biggest push for reparations since 89. This isn't the biggest push since 89. This is the biggest push for reparations caused by ADOS since Reconstruction. Sandy Darity said it himself. They didn't talk about reparations this way in 89. Understand also, there was no component of understanding that reparations only goes to the American descendants of slavery. So we weren't even talking about reparations. You can't say that people are talking about reparations and you don't even define the group that should receive it. You're just talking about, like, I guess, repayment until you do ADOS. I'm saying this to you because everybody's trying to interject things that I know. I sat with the head of the Black Caucus. I know that HR 40 is not doing anything without the movement of the people of ADOS. But they're going to try to take ADOS out from under it and just say HR 40. Go read HR 40. It don't say nothing. I'm telling y'all this because I'm not guessing. I'm telling y'all this because I look and I want to read some more. Robin's great-great-great-great-grandparents were Maria Carter Custis Cephas and Charles Cephas. After the death of Maria Carter Custis Cephas, her 17 acres were divided and sold, allowing her descendants to begin to build wealth. Maria was the daughter of Martha Washington. Y'all remember Martha Washington? Y'all remember Martha Washington from an event talking about that with George Washington. See, we've been here doing this discussion. From Martha Washington's grandson, George Washington Parke Custis, and one of his enslaved maids, Ariana Carter, according to historical accounts. So this family comes through the George Washington. She went out and found the most quirky story, Adams family story of Black life to tell the story of reparations and didn't interview nobody from ADOS. Didn't go to no southern place, no Midwest. These people live in Elk Grove, California. Let me tell you about Elk Grove, California. Houses are anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million in Elk Grove, California. That's where these people live. Speaking for Black people across the country with the father who's supposed to be the patriarch saying we don't deserve cash payments. We're going to have a discussion. We got 1,000 in the box on a drop, on a quick hit. And I just want to say, Maria's, so we continuing on. In 1866, Maria's eldest son, William Cephas, who became chief messenger of the Interior Department, petitioned Congress to pass a bill returning the 17 acres to his family, and the Cephas reclaimed their plot. Scott, whose brother Robert is Robin's father, said, our family is actually a case study in what would have happened had people got their 40 acres. So you're going to go out and find the people that are saying that we are the people that actually did kind of get our 40 acres in some way or another, and let them tell the story about reparations through the main person you're going to find is the one that's married to a Japanese lady, when only 0.22% of all blacks are married to Asians. This is the quirkiest, oddball, weirdest thing I've ever seen. Like I said, 82% of blacks are intermarried. I don't understand how you tell this story. Understand this. I'll tell this to you. My family is from Alabama and Mississippi. Brooksville, Mississippi. I'm telling you this because that is the anchoring for ADOS. Black America is owed a debt. There's not going to be no repayment if we keep allowing people to basically tell us that we don't deserve reparations by showing people in pictures in Elk Grove, California, in houses that look like $1 million, so white people don't understand the reality of Parchman Prison in Louds County. Louds County, Alabama, again, the UN goes down there, and these black people, this community is 85, 82% black, if not more, and they got feces in their backyard because the city is not doing the right infrastructure with the aqueducts and things that are supposed to come out of the house. The UN goes down there and says they're living in third world conditions. This writer, instead of going to Louds County, Alabama, or Parchman Prison, where the inmates are basically living in substandard conditions, goes to Elk Grove, California to find an oddball story, to make her story make sense, when the only way you get to write that story is if 1 million of the black families, of the 20 million black families, are actually married to a Japanese family. You don't get to write this. I don't even know if y'all understand. This is some oddball stuff. And I'm coming to you because I kind of wanted to hit this, and I'm not going to, I want you to read the article. I'm going to put it in the introduction. But I think that as I go through this article, I read certain different parts, and I start to see the question of how did we get here? I start to see the problems with not understanding the consequence of getting here. I'm looking at this thing, and I want to find one more quote from the actual girl that frames everything. And she said some old wild stuff. Let me see if I can find it. Let me look in the chat. How's everybody doing today? I know it's Saturday. They should have went to Skid Row in LA for the real ADOS or Ross Sweet. Yeah, I agree. Lineage matters. Sadly, the Black blue checks will probably approve of her article. Yeah, that's what they do. Honestly, AD, I reposted the ABC article. I'll do it again. Dark Skin Beauty. I get it, Tone. I did a live about your last commentary. I appreciate that. I want to find this quote from this young lady because I think that it frames what I'm talking about. It's the craziest thing. How this whole thing developed and happened. And I think for a lot of people, that's hard for them to digest. Let me find the quote. If I can, maybe I'll cut it out. And I'm going to go print it real quick because I want to make sure I get this. Hold on 1 second. Oh, here it goes. For Robin, reparations are a meaningful way to acknowledge, this is the young 28-year-old, the loss that both sides of her family have experienced. The loss of being able to live a normal life. That's not what your black family lost. And your black family actually got a unique twist of a turn of a version of it. So I don't even know how you get to tell the story. But let me listen to this. Whether they were families that were uprooted from Africa, uprooted, and brought here as slaves, or families that were put in internment camps, they did not have the same opportunities that everyone else had. The 28-year-old said, the government should say, I'm sorry, just like they did for the Japanese Americans. This is the only way to start the healing process. I'm sorry. We're not here purely for apologies. We're here for a $10 to $12 trillion transformation that focuses on ADOS. I don't understand how we got here. All I know is that I know the direct answer of how we move from here. As I said, I'm negotiating for Yvette to show on prime time in the coming weeks. Look for that to happen. We here to have a discussion about reparations and a Black agenda. Reparations is for ADOS. A Black agenda in large part is for ADOS, but will help all of Black Americans. There is no way that a family that built America should live under America, whether it be in the South, the Midwest, or the West Coast. I'm looking at this article. I want you to read it, and I want you to complain about it, because I feel like it's such a problematic article, not only because they avoided ADOS, not only because they decided to use a family that reminds us of who? Tiger Woods. You remember Californication, Tiger Woods and his Black daddy and his Asian mama, and they ran him around, and then he said he was Californication. Y'all remember the whole reality of using and anchoring Black achievement through the fact that a Tiger Woods could happen. So we got all these stories about how golf could be reparation. All you got to do is learn some golf. This young lady is Tiger Woods. She is a reflection of the same aberrational story and spouts some of the same things that don't really add up to full form transformation. We talking today. Let me look in this chat. Give me that transformation policy. That's dark skin again. We in here. Fire from Antonio Schuler. Thanks y'all from Nigeria. Woo! And my mods again. Shout out to y'all. We out here. It's all propaganda, right? Political. So I just wanted to come to you real quick, have this discussion, and get you talking about this article, sharing this article, and basically letting people know why this article is problematic, and giving you the tools to be able to explain people past the hiding place. And that hiding place is to say, who are you to police Blackness? Well, if I tell you that 0.22% of all Blacks are married to any Asian, the data polices it. This is Tone Talks. Please go to tonetalks.org to subscribe and donate. Share this video. Get this out. It's time to have a discussion and let people stop having the discussion for us.